NASCAR just dropped the entire 2027 Cup Series schedule, and the racing world has not stopped arguing since. 36 races, a rebuilt chase, the Bristol night race ripped out of the postseason, and one massive market losing its street race entirely. Some of these calls are brilliant, and others are going to make fans furious. Let's break down every one. NASCAR made it official on Wednesday, August 26th, releasing the full 2027 calendar for the Cup Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Craftsman Truck Series all at once. That's nearly 100 races across 3 national divisions, and it caps off a month where individual tracks were leaking their dates one at a time like puzzle pieces scattered across a table. Veteran reporters were openly annoyed by the drip campaign. Now that the whole board is finally visible, you can see exactly what NASCAR was building toward. The headline number stays the same: 36 points-paying races, plus the duels at Daytona, plus the All-Star race. Ben Kennedy, now NASCAR's chief operating officer, called the whole thing an iterative process and openly admitted the sport has made scheduling decisions in the past that flat out did not pan out. That is a rare piece of honesty from a sanctioning body, and it tells you this calendar was built as a correction because the correction is enormous and it lives in the final 10 races. The chase is getting gutted and rebuilt. Bristol Motor Speedway, Darlington Raceway, and Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway are all out of the postseason. Coming in are Richmond Raceway, Watkins Glen International, and New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 3 in, 3 out, and the entire personality of the championship run changes with them. Richmond gets the chase opener on Saturday, September 11th, the first time that 3/4-mile Virginia short track has been in the postseason since 2021. Watkins Glen slots in second on September 19th, which puts a road course back in the championship picture after a year where the final 10 races were all ovals. New Hampshire takes the 3rd spot on September 26th, marking the 16th time the Flat Mile in Loudon has hosted a postseason Cup race. From there it runs Kansas, Las Vegas, Charlotte on the full oval, Phoenix, Talladega on Halloween, Martinsville, and it finishes at Homestead-Miami Speedway on November 14th. Think about what that gauntlet actually demands from a driver: a tight short track, a road course, a flat 1-mile oval, a pair of 1.5 miles, a desert oval, and a superspeedway, all before you ever reach Martinsville and the finale. There is nowhere to hide in that stretch. A team that only knows how to unload fast at intermediate tracks is going to get exposed by the second week of the chase, and honestly, that is exactly what a championship run should look like. And the loudest reaction to all of this: Bristol, the Bass Pro Shops night race, arguably the best atmosphere in all of American motorsport, is leaving the postseason and returning to August 14th. That is the traditional slot the race occupied from 1976 all the way through 2019, before NASCAR moved it into the playoffs in 2020. The logic behind the move is genuinely solid. Under the old elimination format, Bristol was a cutoff race, and that pressure cooker produced unforgettable television. But the elimination rounds are gone now under the restored chase format. Without a knockout on the line, keeping Bristol in September mostly meant fighting Tennessee college football for eyeballs, and that is a fight nobody wins. Sliding it back into the dog days of August gives the night race its concert atmosphere identity back after 4 decades of owning that weekend. Purists are thrilled about it. Anyone who fell in love with the sport during the elimination era feels like something got quietly taken away from them. Both camps have a real point. The bigger heartbreak, though, is happening about 600 miles to the northwest. The NASCAR Chicago street race is not on the 2027 calendar. After 3 years of racing through Grant Park and the surrounding downtown streets, NASCAR and the city could not close a deal in time, and the sanctioning body had a schedule to publish. Instead, Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet keeps its date, hosting the Cup Series on June 27th for a second consecutive year. Now, before anybody declares this a disaster, look closely at what Joliet actually pulled off in its comeback season. The place sold out. Fans traveled in from 31 different countries and all 50 states, and nearly 60% of ticket holders were attending their very first NASCAR event. Chase Briscoe won it, and the racing on that mile-and-a-half was legitimately good. Julie Giese, who runs strategic scheduling for NASCAR and personally helped build the street race in the first place, said something fascinating about it. The crowd filling the grandstands at Chicagoland was a completely different audience than the crowd that showed up downtown. Her read is that the Chicago market could realistically support both events, and she confirmed conversations with the city are still ongoing. So this looks a lot more like a pause than a funeral. Now let's talk about how the 2027 season actually kicks off, because the Clash is going home. After 2 years at Bowman Gray Stadium and 3 before that inside the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the preseason exhibition returns to Daytona International Speedway for a Saturday night show on February 13th, running under its new name, the Wheatley Vodka Clash. That is the first Clash held at Daytona since 2021. Speedwix gets its traditional shape back. The duels run on February 18th, and the 69th running of the Daytona 500 goes green on February 21st. Bowman Gray does not disappear from the schedule, though, and this is the part that made old-school fans emotional. The Madhouse is getting a Craftsman Truck Series points race on Friday, August 20th. That quarter-mile bullring in Winston-Salem has not hosted a National Series points race since 1971. 56 years. NASCAR poured real money into that facility for the Clash, adding a new lighting system, safer barriers, fresh catch fence, and a full repave. And now all of that investment finally gets a race that actually counts in the standings. Out west, San Diego is officially not a one-off experiment. NASCAR returns to Naval Base Coronado on August 1st, running the 3.4-mile Qualcomm circuit past the USS Carl Vinson once again. Even bigger, the new agreement opens the door to rotating this event out to other military installations starting in 2028. Corey Haim scored his first career Cup Series victory on that street course this year, and NASCAR clearly liked what it saw on the broadcast. The in-season challenge survives as well, keeping the same 5-race, 32-driver bracket and the same $1 million payday. What changed is the route. It launches at Iowa Speedway on the 4th of July, then moves to Sonoma Raceway, Echo Park Speedway near Atlanta, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and finishes on the streets of Coronado. Short track, road course, super speedway, historic oval, military street circuit. 5 completely different disciplines across 5 straight weeks, and that is a genuinely clever piece of bracket design. Iowa deserves its own mention there, jumping from August all the way up to Independence Day weekend, and inheriting the holiday slot Chicagoland held this season. So what does all of this actually mean for the race teams hauling the equipment? The calendar is long, and it is quietly getting longer. The season stretches from February 13th to November 14th, with only 2 off weekends built into the entire thing, Easter on March 28th and a summer break on August 8th. Drivers have been publicly lobbying for a shorter schedule and more breathing room for a couple of years now, pointing at Formula One and IndyCar as comparisons. 2 weeks off across 10 months is not the answer they were hoping to hear. There are real wins buried in here for the garage, though. Michigan International Speedway returns to Father's Day weekend for the first time since 2017. Dover reclaims its points-paying race after a year of hosting the All-Star event, and Denny Hamlin, who has won the last 3 Cup races at the Monster Mile in one form or another, has to be circling May 16th already. North Wilkesboro takes the All-Star race back on May 23rd, and Homestead-Miami is absorbing roughly $20 million in renovations, including a rebuilt main entrance and a much larger midway, all targeted for completion before championship weekend. Add it all up, and this schedule is NASCAR quietly admitting a few things out loud. The elimination format hangover is finally over. Tradition is selling better than novelty right now, and the chase needed real teeth that do not come from artificial cutoff races. Whether it works is a completely different question. Richmond opening the postseason is a swing. Putting a road course second is an even bigger one. And somewhere in downtown Chicago, a lot of people are sitting there hoping this is temporary. So what's your verdict on it? Is this new chase lineup a legitimate upgrade, or did NASCAR just break the single best playoff race it had? Drop your take in the comments, and I'll see you at the next one.